I have to get your opinion on Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. We haven't spoken since then. A lot of people felt Roach won. Some people were happy with the draw. We all know that the knee should have been a knockdown. How did you score the fight?
I still had Roach winning, probably like 1 or 2 rounds.
Terence Crawford suggests Gervonta Davis needs to improve to defeat Lamont Roach in the rematch.
It was a close fight because Tank, I don't know, I think Tank just underestimated him. You know what I mean? And he was just looking for him to be himself and get a knockout. You know, I always said Tank is losing until he's not losing.
Terence Crawford didn't hold back when he gave his thoughts on the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch, boldly claiming that Roach has already shown his best. According to the undefeated multi-weight champion, Roach has hit his ceiling and won't be able to improve for the second clash. This strong take has sparked debates across the boxing world, especially given how close and controversial the first fight was. Crawford pointed out that while Davis may have underperformed, Roach delivered the performance of his life, and even that wasn't enough to secure a win. Crawford stressed that the mental aspect of the fight will be key, suggesting that Davis needs to be more aggressive and let his hands go more frequently this time around.
In all his fights, when you watch him fight against Leo Santa Cruz, against
Rolly,
you know what I mean? Even you know, Ryan was doing good the first couple of rounds.
So you think he relies on the power too much?
I think he do. You know, he's losing until he's not losing. Now, he's smart. He'll walk you into some, you know, but I just think Roach was, you know, shit, he was like, man, I ain't going for none of that.
Let's go. Yeah. So how do you think the rematch plays out?
I think you're going to get a better Tank. But at the same time, I think
the rematch between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach is now officially lined up for August 16th in Las Vegas, after their first meeting on March 1st ended in a shocking and controversial majority draw. Davis, who entered the fight as the heavy favorite with a spotless record of 30-0, including 28 knockouts, was widely expected to make easy work of Roach. However, things didn't go according to plan. Roach, the WBA junior lightweight champion, came out prepared, determined, and delivered a spirited performance that left many fans and analysts stunned.
Roach fought at his peak. You know, I don't think he can fight better than that.
But do you believe in the phrase when people say he got his number?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a real thing, and could it be possible that Roach has his number?
Definitely. Roach can definitely have his number, but that don't mean that Tank will come in there fighting the same fight.
But what could he do different? When I watched
he can let his hands go more.
But I think at times
he
did, and then he was being met and countered with answers back every time. So people are not used to seeing Tank in that space, because when he lands those shots, they usually end the fight, but they weren't hurting Roach.
But that's the thing, that's the mental.
The most contentious moment of that fight came in the 9th round, when Davis suddenly took a knee after being hit with a jab. The referee, Steve Willis, began counting, but then abruptly stopped at 3 and didn't score it as a knockdown. Had that been ruled a legitimate knockdown, Roach would likely have won the fight on points. Davis later claimed the incident occurred because hair grease got into his eyes, impairing his vision. What added further confusion was that Davis's corner was allowed to wipe his eyes with a towel during the round, a move that violates boxing regulations. Only the referee is allowed to pause the fight, and such assistance from the corner is not permitted during active rounds.
You know, when he was hitting Roach, or Roach was blocking, he had hit with like 1 or 2 shots.
Right.
You know, you gotta start picking it up and throw multiple.
Despite these controversies, Davis kept his WBA lightweight title due to the draw, and Roach missed out on becoming a 2-division world champion. Roach, who holds a record of 25 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws with 10 knockouts, is currently ranked number 1, 4 at 130 pounds by The Ring. On the other hand, Davis remains at the top of the lightweight rankings and is considered one of the most dangerous punchers in the division.
Lamont is signed and ready to go for the rematch, correct?
Y'all can't play so many head games. It's not even funny. Let me tell you something, bro. Lamont Roach has never been this big of a fighter before. Everyone knows Lamont Roach now. So he could be reaping the benefits of just enjoying his status of having that draw with Tank, while Tank is the one with the eye of the tiger. Tank is probably in the gym training his ass off. And then sign the contract like, all right, we got to fight when? June. Oh, shit! Let's hurry up and dash your ass. Sugar Ray Leonard did that to Roberto Duran. Duran was told that he had a fight in a couple weeks. And he was like, dude, I'm 190 pounds in Panama. Which is why Roberto Duran was out of shape in the No Mas fight and was like, no mas. So Tank could be over there working, sign the contract in 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, Lamont Roach got to put a training camp together.
The build-up to the rematch has drawn opinions from some of boxing's biggest names. Ryan Garcia, who lost to Davis 2 years ago, is firmly backing Tank to get it right this time. Garcia believes Davis underestimated Roach in the first fight, thinking he would break mentally and fold under pressure. Garcia stated that Davis simply expected an easy night and was surprised when Roach didn't back down. For the rematch, he anticipates a more focused and determined Davis, who will make the necessary adjustments to secure a convincing win.
Tank Roach rematch. Who would you got?
I got Tank. I think he'll put on a different gear. I think he just thought it was going to be easier than it was, and kind of thought that Roach would fold, and he didn't. And now he should expect a harder fight, and I think he wins the round.
Another elite boxer, Shakur Stevenson, offered a different view on the Davis versus Roach rematch. Unlike others who see Davis dominating the second encounter, Stevenson is cautious. Having shared gym time with Roach, Stevenson knows firsthand what Roach is capable of and doesn't believe this will be an easy fight for Davis. He emphasized that Davis must be better than he was in the first fight. Just being at his best won't be enough. Stevenson's biggest concern is that Davis may lose, which would derail their own potential super fight down the line. Still, he admitted that Davis can make adjustments and possibly win if he comes into the rematch at 100%.
We got the rematch announced today with him and Lamont Roach. I think August
they announced
16th,
it today?
So what do you think, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, giving him a tough fight? What do you think?
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Did you think Lamont won the first fight? 154 and fight.
I asked 2 questions at the same time. I ain't hear shit y'all do that.
Roy Jones Jr., a legendary figure in boxing, also weighed in. While he praised Roach for his unexpected performance in the first fight and even predicted Roach would surprise fans again, Jones believes Davis will enter the ring with a much different mindset this time. He noted that Davis will likely come in with more motivation, a new attitude, and a hunger to dominate. Jones is confident that Davis, with the right focus, will make the right changes and come out as the clear winner in August.
Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight, Lamont Roach shocked the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation, and I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
David Benavidez, another top fighter currently holding the WBC light heavyweight title, was vocal about how the officiating in the first fight failed Roach. He argued that the referee should have counted Davis's knee in the 9th round as a knockdown, which would have handed Roach the victory. Benavidez criticized Davis for giving too much respect to Roach and even questioned Davis's mental state, especially since he was openly talking about retirement and seemed more focused on the financial aspect of the sport than on fighting. Benavidez acknowledged that Davis has always been a beast in the ring, but hinted that this version of Davis might be different, less hungry, less intense, and possibly distracted.
Tank did that, so I know the got in his eye, but they should have countered it. They would have countered it, would have went to Lamont Roach. What I didn't like about Tank, he was gassing up Lamont Roach way too much, and he was already talking about like retiring.
He a little distracted in the fight.
That wasn't the same Gervonta Davis we're really used to seeing.
It just lets you know how corrupt like these governing bodies are, bro. If that dude took a knee, not only did he take a knee, he's like, hold on real quick. Let me get this out of my eye. How is that not a point? Like,
funny thing, bro, that's why I cut my braids off. I had braids and I had the same thing. I went through the same when I fought Andre. That burning my eyes, so I cut that off.
Roach's surprise performance may not have shocked everyone though. Claressa Shields, a 5-weight world champion herself, saw the upset coming and believes the rematch could tilt even more in Roach's favor. She thinks Roach will be even better prepared in the second fight, while Davis is still battling personal issues that may affect his performance. Shields pointed out that Davis's frustration with things outside the ring could be interfering with his focus inside it. In her view, therapy might help Davis regain the mental clarity needed to perform at his best. Until then, she's picking Roach to win the rematch.
Gervonta is a hell of a fighter, but he needs to get his mental together. When I hear some of his interviews, and I see some of the stuff that he's saying, I can just tell that he's not in love with the sport no more. I can tell that he didn't get his just due. I mean, it was crazy to hear that he said he got evicted out of a house or something like that. And I was just like, what in the world? And like that type of stuff, when you've been fighting and knocking people out and fighting main events. I mean, he fought four main events here at T-Mobile against some of the best fighters. And it's just like, to see that he got evicted from his home and all this other stuff. Now he got kids, and you know, he's not signed with TMT. Mayweather.
Yeah.
Promotions,
No, he's on his own,
anymore. It's like when I hear him talk, he's like he want to be a nicer guy for his daughters, and he don't want to be
therapy.
I think he would be better, and even a better fighter if he went and did therapy like ASAP. Because I can just tell like he's a little sad, he's a little depressed, even before this fight. You know, so I think it'd be a better fight. I think that Lamont has the mental edge. I think anybody right now would have the mental edge over Tank, because to me, he just needs to take some serious time to, like, you know, deal with whatever he's having to deal with.
One of Davis's former opponents, Rolando Raleigh Romero, also chimed in. Romero, who was knocked out by Davis in the 6th round of their 2022 fight, believes Tank will handle business the second time around. He expects Davis to come better prepared, make smarter choices, and take Roach more seriously. Romero's support for Davis echoes a common belief in boxing circles, that Davis has all the tools but needs to take this fight more seriously and fight with a greater sense of urgency.
That people want to discredit Tank, and he's still a pound for pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Shit, I had a off night with Cruz. Everyone has a night. It's boxing.
You want to run that back for Cruz or what?
Maybe down the line.
The fight was initially expected to take place in June, but was pushed back to mid-August, giving both fighters additional time to prepare. With the date now set for August 16th in Las Vegas, the buzz continues to grow for what is now one of the most highly anticipated rematches in boxing. Fans, analysts, and fellow fighters all seem to agree on one thing. Both men are under intense pressure, and neither can afford a misstep.
How many rematches have you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, it's a good question. It's gonna be based on my training camp. I have to push myself a little harder. If that didn't get me the win, and I have room. I definitely have room. I'm not gonna lie, I have room.
You believe you fought the best Gervonta, or do you think he's got some more gears?
100% for a fact. I think he might have some more gears, but I fought the best Gervonta that night. I don't want people to get it misconstrued or whatever the case may be. He's a hell of a fighter. Hell of an IQ, great punching power, good speed, and a really good boxing ability. A lot of people underrate that. Don't think because of what I did, y'all think y'all can just go in there and think y'all can have the same night, you know what I'm saying, or do the same thing. He still will go upside your head and crack you, and you know what I'm saying, you might end up on the floor. Everybody not built the same, and that's what people getting messed up. He did a whole lot of things that was good in that fight, a whole lot. And I'm telling you right now, if he wasn't as good of a fighter as he was, that would have been, you know what I'm saying? I would have steamrolled him. Don't get that misconstrued. He's still the guy he is. It's just he ran into a guy that's on the same level.
For Davis, the stakes are particularly high. With a perfect record on the line and potential matchups against stars like Shakur Stevenson and Ryan Garcia in the near future, anything short of a decisive win could impact his legacy. For Roach, the rematch is a chance to not only right a wrong, but to cement his place as one of the top fighters in the sport. His confidence is sky high, and after proving he could hang with one of the best, he now believes he can beat him outright.
We did how many rounds? We probably did at least 8 straight.
Yeah, but you in the bag for about 8 too.
Yeah.
Little good. You're not in bad shape.
Yeah. This guy pick up my money.
As the clock ticks down to fight night, both men are fine-tuning their strategies, and the boxing world waits eagerly. Will Davis come back sharper, more aggressive, and focused enough to put Roach away? Or will Roach prove that his performance in March wasn't a fluke and finally get the credit he missed out on due to controversial officiating? With elite fighters splitting their predictions, this rematch promises to be far more than just a follow-up. It's a statement fight for both warriors. The boxing community remains divided, and that only adds to the anticipation. What's certain is that August 16th is shaping up to be one of the most significant nights in recent boxing memory.